A job market based on deference versus a job market based on trust. Hi, my name is Sarah Trumbull. I'm the founder and CEO of the Job Applicant Perspective, the first anonymous user reviews for job ads across the U.S. Think of us like Yelp in a world of professionally mandated fine dining with no health department and no FDA. This is the level of go-to-market awareness as well as public service for all the gaslighting out there. I am driving at a paradigm shift, which is not small, but pretty important. I think of it as a paradigm restoration, really. But this comes in written form as well as this video format, as well as audio and on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Substack and YouTube in order to meet people where they are. So I'm going to start from the beginning and we'll go from there. What's the difference between nurturing your labor force versus whittling them away? Both a garden and a quarry produce output. One grows value, the other consumes it. That's the quiet moral fault line running through the modern job market. When you build a labor system on deference, you don't grow people, you extract them. When you build it on trust, you create an ecosystem that can adapt, renew, and thrive. One hollows out its foundational market, the other replenishes it. Who this is for: job seekers tired of silence and blame who deserve visibility and voice, employers ready to build trust-based pipelines, not click-based funnels, policy leaders and researchers who see the cracks in the labor market's foundation and know that fixing incentives is the only path forward. 3 signs we're living in a quarry. Number 1, free job postings, the attention trap. Which, when job posts are free, you are not the customer, you're the revenue. Platforms monetize views and applications, not hires. They profit from activity, not resolution. Markets that profit from trust get resolution. Markets that profit from engagement get engagement. So how does this work then? Newspapers monetize trust with their readers, whether they bought the paper or just used it. They did not allow free job postings. They protected signal and quality. Every listing mattered. Every click was meaningful. Online job boards, they monetize your engagement. Free job postings, low risk, high reward language, one-click apply, instant gratification, no friction. Thousands of jobs posted, endless flashing options like lights in a casino. The sell is convenience and excitement. It's the language of gambling, not responsibility. It's the opposite of the newspaper. It's the language of flash and show and possibility. It's not the language of clean signal. Endless scrolling, endless clicking, endless hope. The platform profits from hires, not from hires, but from the compulsion loop it creates. Every application, every page view, every one click is a spin of the wheel. Users aren't being informed, they're being gamed. How employers perceive it. Here's the trick. Online hiring cultivates trust theater with employers. Customer service, polished dashboards, responsive account managers, everything looks professional. Employers judge the platform by how it treats them. Here's the problem though. Employer time is not what's being monetized. Job seeker time is. Look at the fiscal year reports. Ask yourself, how does the job platform treat the people whose attention drives its revenue? And how does it treat the people it sells outcomes to? How does it treat the people whose attention and time and energy fuel its revenue? And how does it treat the people paying to not have to spend so much time and energy and attention on this topic? Because that right there is where it is. How job seekers experience it. Employers rarely ask. They don't see the endless applications into silence. They don't feel the algorithmic churn. They don't experience the hope tax. The platform has no reason to surface these realities. Doing so would reveal the truth. The trust employers are paying for is theater. A performance of professionalism directed at the 5% of the paying users, while the 95% whose time generates the revenue are treated as dirt. extractable. Look across LinkedIn. There's not one example of them being overly respectful to job seekers on the regs, honestly going to bat for the labor force. It's always something about the issue with the labor force. So your resume, your thing, this is how you need to change. This is how you need to shift. This is how you need to do something different. Never once is it something about the other way. Ask yourself if the way vendors talk to job seekers on LinkedIn is the way the newspapers would have talked to job seekers. Why not? What's the difference? And then you recognize that you've never once had a neutral platform since hiring went online. Why it's extractive. By failing to demand the platforms earn trust with job seekers, employers purchase trust theater instead of real trust. They fund a system that works against them and the very people they're trying to reach. They think they're purchasing trust. They're actually just purchasing the opposite of it, so they get an engagement trap. Activity is mistaken for progress. Volume is mistaken for value. Real trust, it would mean platforms profit when hires happen. It would mean treating job seeker time as expensive, not free. But trust theater is far more profitable in the short term. It allows platforms to waste job seeker time while employers pay for the privilege. A job seeker's unpaid time is the revenue. That's where the revenue is for all of them. The job seeker's unpaid time is the revenue driver. Cultivating trust with employers costs almost nothing and reveals almost nothing. It's like electronic Disney, where Disney didn't need to entertain the kids in order to get the parents to buy tickets. And in fact, the longer it ignored the kids or it mistreated the kids, the more tickets the parents would buy. That's not a market. That's strip mining the foundations of the economy for the present moment. That's strip mining the economy. That's strip mining civic society. That's stochastic violence to me. Newspaper sowed signal. Job seeker sells spins. Job board sells spins. Instant thousands posted. All glitter, no grounding. The language itself is a casino. And given what unemployment actually is, the stress, the financial pressure, the quiet erosion of self-worth, this is not ordinary clickbait economics. It is something worse. ATS as filter, not matcher, the 90% friction machine. This is hilarious to me when you think it through. What ATS promises, applicant tracking systems are sold as efficiency tools. They promise to save employer time by sorting through the flood of applications. But look at what they actually optimize for, the entitlement to perfection. An actual marketplace is not based on perfect outcomes. It's based on reliable and perfect connections. It doesn't mine diamonds. It connects reasonable actors. How ATSs actually work, and ATS is a filter, is a rejection machine. Its job is to say no. It profits the longer the users that power is value. Unpaid users don't find the work that they came to acquire. ATSs alone should let you know that a magic claw machine in the labor market is an economic tumor that's been going on for 25 years. Yeah, it profits. A 10% pass-through rate isn't a signal of selectivity. It's a 90% friction rate. That's not matching. That's obstruction at scale. By its nature, a filtering mechanism in a talent matching market is structurally opposed to half the stakeholders' needs and to well over 95% of the users. A matching mechanism profits when the market clears. A filtering mechanism profits when the lines grows at the door, all while claiming to add efficiency to the talent process. An economist's nightmare. If you're trained to trust market efficiency, brace yourself. The ATS is a profit maximizing obstruction machine disguised as an efficiency tool. It rewards friction over resolution, turning unpaid user labor into the revenue engine while leaving the market clogged. Half the stakeholders, job seekers, are systemically ignored. Over 95% of the users are functionally treated as extractable resources. Employers are seduced by dashboards and reporting, but the system actively degrades the talent pool they rely on. This is not a minor inefficiency. It is structural misalignment at scale, a market mechanism that fails by design. A matching mechanism profits when the market clears. The ATS profits when the line grows. Economically rational? No, no. Ethically sound? Not a chance. It is a system built on illusion, extraction, and human blind spots. The cognitive architecture that prevents anyone from seeing what isn't in their identity, all at the expense of the economic safety of 160 million job seekers, their dependents, and the foundation of the U.S. economy. And it's been going on for 25 years. I would like to mention these are global industries. If it was only in the US, it wasn't here, it would still be an epic error and an epic problem. It should make any economist absolutely ill. How ATS degrades the talent pool. Filters don't just extract value, they actively degrade the quality of the talent pool when they operate with white labels. They provide no training to job seekers. They lack FAQ pages or tech support. I haven't even gotten to their algorithms or their linguistics here. Yeah, the system profits from the line at the door, not from clearing it. Every unexplained whoops that keeps the line long justifies its existence. Candidates aren't notified which ATS they're engaging with, why the resume didn't pass, whether the ATS caused the rejection. For the actors in that line, this is erosion. Skills degrade, insights fade, capacity diminishes. Some actors with networks and options opt out. Others, even competent candidates, become demoralized and disconnected. Quarry logic versus gardening. This is quarry logic. You are not cultivating a talent pool, you're discarding it. A matching industry would engage candidates who did not get through, apply them to other roles, give feedback on what worked or didn't, support clearing the line at the door. A gardener does not throw away 98% of seeds and call it efficiency. The ATS is not designed for gardening. It's designed to make employers feel discernment, like they found diamonds in the rough. It is short-term profit stream. It doesn't care about degrading the talent pool or the marketplace itself, the marketplace that employers rely on to sell the products and services that keep them in business. The takeaway: filtering is strip mining. Matching is cultivation. Right now, the market has chosen filtering, and the talent pool is eroding because of it. I don't know if you've seen civic society lately, but, wrecking hope for 160 million people over the course of 25 years, many times a day for 25 years, hasn't gone well while silencing their ability to talk about it and engage with it. It's a problem, White labeling. Number 3, enforced ignorance. When you apply for a job online, who's responsible for what happens next? The job board where you found the listing, the ATS that processed your application, the recruiter who may or may not have seen it, the employer whose name was on the pool. You'll never know. That's not an accident. It's architecture. White labeling lets every player in the hiring pipeline hide behind someone else's brand. The job board hands you off to an ATS you've never heard of. The ATS operates under the employer's logo. The recruiter works through a third-party portal. Everyone touches your application. No one owns your experience. This creates accountability arbitrage. When the process fails, when you never hear back, when your job was fake or your application vanished, there's no one to blame. Employers blame the ATS. ATS blames the recruiter. The platform says they disconnect people. Your frustration has nowhere to land. No reputation suffers. Nothing changes. A matching industry wouldn't hide its products or services. It would show them off because success for job seekers is success for the platform. A chef that makes good food isn't terrified of his diners describing what it tastes like. White labeling, by contrast, enforces ignorance in both directions. You can't make informed choices about where to apply, which pipelines actually work for you as a job seeker. Maybe you're good for whatever reason at Greenhouse, but not this one. How will you know? Because you don't know what you're looking at. which employers respond, which systems are black holes. Every application feels like a coin flip into the fog. You can't learn from your experience. Did you fail the ATS? Was it a keyword issue? Did a recruiter reject you? Was the job even real? You'll never know. You can't improve. You can't calibrate. You just apply it again in the same darkness, changing things that might not matter or not changing things that do. A garden gives you roots, feedback that lets you grow. A quarry takes your time and tells you nothing. White labeling ensures the fog never lifts. It protects trust theater by making sure job seekers can't trace their experience back to anyone responsible. It keeps employers comfortable by hiding dysfunction in their name. The system stays broken because no one owns the breakage. The ripple effect, how extraction suppresses everyone. This isn't just a problem for the job seekers. That's not how reality works. The broken hiring market suppresses wages and bargaining power for the entire workforce, including people who already have jobs. When the job search process is this opaque, costly, and demoralizing, people stop looking. They stay in roles that underpay them. They don't negotiate. They don't leave bad situations. The threat of having to re-enter the fog of this nightmare keeps them in place. Employers may benefit briefly. A workforce afraid to leave is a workforce they don't have to pay fairly, but this is quarry logic. It extracts compliance, not loyalty. For the broader economy, the effects are corrosive, absolutely corrosive. Wage growth stagnates because workers can't credibly move. Talent misallocation grows as people stay in wrong fit roles rather than face the search. Innovation suffers. Startups struggle to attract candidates away from safe employers when the alternative is the application void. A real functioning job market, one with transparency, feedback, and genuine matching, would give workers real mobility, force employers to compete on actual conditions, not just being less awful than the job search process. Let wages reflect real value because workers can credibly access alternatives. The quarry doesn't just harm job seekers, it suppresses the entire labor force. Everyone pays the cost of extraction, whether they're actively looking for work or not. I have some of my own papers here, myself, the job market for lemons. Please go there. That's where I talk about the job market where it is right now and the trust infrastructure I've designed with investment. Rocher and Tirole, Platform Competition and Two-Sided Market, Akerlof, Market for Lemons. These works explore the systemic breakdown in online hiring, why efficiency vanished, trust collapsed, and why reform must start with transparency. Building gardens again, the job applicant perspective. Imagine a labor market designed for trust, not obedience, for coordination, not control. People who aren't, job post reviews like products. Right now, it's like the worst version of Rotten Tomatoes or Ticketmaster. You go there, you don't know if that job ad is going to last you 2 hours, 2 weeks, 2 months. You'll never hear back, or it's identity theft. With job reviews, you would. Platforms paid for outcomes, not engagement. Feedback loops, open, honest, and public transparency treated as economic hygiene, not risk. The job applicant perspective is rebuilding the hiring market as a two-sided, trust-based ecosystem. We do not do economic oil rigs from the bottom to the top. That's not good for the economy, and we like our economy stable, thank you. Our user reviews bring sunlight back to hiring. Honestly, sometimes it's going to be red, right? Because ghosting, not because anybody did anything wrong, because they have enough applications. Great. Apply somewhere else. Another time, maybe you find out that these type of people make DC-style movies and hiring movies, and these people make Marvel-style hiring movies, and you like DC better, and they like Marvel better. Great. That's great. That's where you should be. Excuse me. Visit the job applicant perspective. Anonymous user reviews. Verified job posts, a labor market finally designed for its stakeholders. Excuse me. Sorry. In the end, a quarry runs out. A garden runs deep. The choice is not whether we're going to work. The choice is whether we're going to grow. Yeah. So that's it. Please stop by the job applicant perspective, the first anonymous user reviews for job ads. Really passionate about this. I'm ready to help make the flip and the change. This is inevitable. The system, it depends on how far into the crash we want to go before we flip it. And I hope people will continue to jump in this direction. The only people who think the online job market works are the people who don't use it, The people who are not on the user end driving the revenue are the people who think it's functioning. Other than that, it's not about whether or not somebody didn't get a job. It's about whether or not they're being treated with respect, consideration, and kindness. It's about whether or not does a job platform build trust with the people who drive its revenue, or does it build trust with the people who are paying to not have to drive its revenue, not have to pay attention? Does it build trust with people who fuel its time and attention, or does it build trust with the people who don't? And if it's build trust with the people who don't, does it have to build trust with their side? There's no version of reality where job platforms online have ever been neutral, and they've gotten progressively worse. This is the Nash non-converging equilibrium. Jevons paradox does it even harder for employers. This is a problem. The job market is very identity-driven, which is part of the issue here. But we need to work on this. We need to do this. So, yeah, if we could stop by the job applicant perspective, like, follow, share, really anything you can do will help. Also actively endorse, as much as I'm correct on this score, any movement in this direction will help begin the cycle of making it work, because there's no version of reality this doesn't work. I mean, come on now. A labor market with collectively, I think about the Hamilton thing, but a market of labor regulated by the people who drive all of its profits unpaid, and who rely on it for their livelihoods. Whether you're talking about economic trust or civic democracy, those have historically been very good things. And if economic trust is built like that, that means we don't have it. And it means we have a labor market without it. That's not how safe societies work, Also, yeah, I don't know. This, it is Hamiltonian in a way. It's civic democracy-ish, kind of. But it's also not too. It's just lack of empathy. I don't know. I say a lot of things here. It doesn't really matter. I'm very philosophical, but also in my defense, I think logically it stands, and also logically we need to shift. It's important. But I want to speak with empathy and consideration for everybody on the other side. Part of the reason that I can see this is partly because I went through it and engaged with it. But I too started from the other side of this. Nobody wants to work anymore. You just haven't tried hard enough. I couldn't think about it, really. I think we all form our identities in different ways. And also we all, when we've made a mistake, I think thinking about it is hard, and engaging with the error is hard. So I want to speak with respect to that. But I can't not drive in this direction, because I saw a thing I couldn't unsee, and I can't let it be. It's really important, and it really matters, So, and there's a lot of money to be made. So there's that. If you're interested, it's a wide open category creation market with billions of dollars. This is the way systems actually work, and it would make billions. It would bring civic stability to pretty much the globe. In terms of the economics, I can't promise anybody else's politics, that's another thing. But economically, yeah. So if you're interested, investment opportunity of the lifetime. But this is the way any online labor market will eventually work. But it's a matter of how far we want to walk down this current path before, how much collapse we want to have, how many civic societies before we decide to do this, All right. Well, anyway, cheers, everybody. I know that sounded kind of grim, but also I think we're in good time. And also, in my defense, it is a little scary, but also we can do this, We come from a legacy of survival. It's never to be questioned. So, an industry regulated collectively, hiring keeps firing at us endlessly. Essentially, they tax us relentlessly. They work us relentlessly. Then employers turn around, run a spending spree, and they ain't never going to set their descendants free. So there will be a revolution in this century. Enter me, she says in parentheses. don't be shocked if your history book mentions me. I will lay down my career, not the leg. If it sets us free, eventually you'll see my ascendancy. I'm just right. So it might not be me that makes this work, but I think I could do it. So it's actually quite fun. I will say that I thank the online hiring industry for having created this opportunity for me. I had no idea I was so good at economics, Sometimes massive failure is actually a blessing, All right. Have a good one.